How are you doing today, Flora?
I'm good.
Okay, cool. Thanks for both of your times. I really appreciate it. The film is really great. So we can get started if that's okay with you guys.
Mhm.
Cool. So, Katie, your film Blue Gray is really incredible. Can you tell us a little bit about the film and your inspiration behind it?
Yes, inspiration. And about the film.
Yes.
Blue Gray is a story about two people who are set up for a blind date for a marriage, and it's set in 1989, Seoul. Um, and I think that's basically all you have to know, and then you can watch the movie. Um, I do think it is a story about two people who connect once they decide to be completely themselves, actually showing parts of themselves that they mm, that are truthful, basically. And the inspiration is actually it's a story about how my parents met, so it's based on a true story, and I actually tried to replicate that story as much as possible. Like all the details, I feel like people want to fictionalize stuff, but for me, I wanted to basically recreate like everything that happened or as much as possible. And it, of course, became fictionalized, but yeah, so that's the inspiration. Yeah.
Yeah, I loved it. I think it was really well put together, and I really liked Flora, your character. She's like kind of a free spirit. Do you see yourself at all in her character?
Uh, I guess a little bit, but we're yeah, I actually do, but not completely.
Well,
Um,
go ahead.
I mean, it was like a fun collaboration process where uh, Katie wrote the character, and then we like kind of worked together to create this character that's like me and like the character like merged together almost. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I think no, that's awesome because it goes
Yeah.
back from what Katie was saying, how, it's based on a true story, but people are sometimes looking for fictional. But I think, just filming something from your own experience, I think that's a lot better. And like putting your own spin on things, especially, I'm sure it's a special story because it's about your parents. Back to you, Katie. I really enjoyed the cinematography in the film. Like you said, the film was based in Seoul, but can you tell us a little bit about what the production process was like?
Right. So I'm from Korea. I was born and raised there, and I went to international school there. And but I started doing filmmaking in New York. So I only had production experience or shooting something in New York, and Blue Gray was the first film I shot in Korea. So, and I think for Flora as well, right? And I just remember both of us would just meet at coffee shops because there's so many coffee shops in Korea. And I think the first meeting is like, okay, so how do we shoot a movie in Korea? What are the steps? Like, what do we do? And yeah, it was like, it was, everything was a new experience because we've never shot something there before. Um, and it was a lot of fun. And what was your question again?
The production process, which is completely like you're explaining it very well. So,
Right. Oh yes, production process. So because we didn't know anything, I think we started just kind of posted on schools, like film schools in Korea. We like asked around and was like, what's a good school that we should, you know, post something about a film that they could, be a part of. And we just asked around like anybody and everyone. We actually didn't just ask film people. We asked like our parents. We asked like our parents' friends, like and or if you see a stranger and they're like, oh yeah, I have experience shooting, I think we'd be like, oh, do you know about this? Like, do you know where we can find the cinematographer? And yeah, we were very open. That's one thing I remember about that process. And we actually found our cinematographer by posting to this great film school in Korea, and uh, I remember it's kind of like we found someone through Craigslist kind of feeling, um, because I had no idea who this person is, and they were just like, "Here's like my resume, and I'm interested in what you guys posted." And we met up with him. His name is Chongsu, and I remember Flora and I were waiting to meet up with him at another coffee shop, and it felt like I was waiting for like someone to show up for a blind date. I feel like I could like relate to the character because I was like, because I have no idea who this person is, and I, you know, we could potentially work together, and it ended up being amazing. Like it was one of the like funnest collaboration ever with, and we actually got majority of our crew members that way.
I
So.
think it all worked out perfectly. I feel like sometimes
Right.
those kinds of things work out in some sort of way, especially if you're going to a different country and both of you guys
Mhm.
weren't too familiar filming there. But I think like word of mouth or like just asking the locals is better, you know. So kind of like outsourcing that. So that's always fun, and I'm glad it worked out that way. So.
Yeah.
So Flora, this film focuses on the pressures of societal norms. Did you
Mhm.
ever get that kind of pressure from your own family?
Yeah, like I grew up with that, so I related to that a lot. Like the mother, the dynamic between the mother and the daughter thing wasn't new at all. So
Mm.
I
it was,
think it's I
yeah.
think that's kind of familiar in every culture, like
Mm,
no matter, like especially any Asian culture, like it's
mhm,
always this pressure to kind of go out and get married, like have kids right away. And I think now over the years it's changed, which is great, but I'm glad that you guys still highlight that in the film, Katie.
Mhm.
And I just really enjoyed Flora's character and like how you guys both crafted um Flora's character because I don't know, I thought she was like super like badass, like in like her sunglasses and like, like I don't want to do another one of these like arranged dates. Like it's like so out of the norm, but I don't want to give too much away with if people didn't see it yet. But
Mhm.
yeah, I think that's what I really like about these short films. It's like so simple, like a simple concept, but going back to the production, I really liked the different shots you had in Korea,
Mhm.
like by just different shots and like the backgrounds and like inside like the
Mhm.
cafes you guys are talking about. So it was really great. Going back to that, Katie, did you have any challenges while creating the film at all?
Uh, there's so many. um, I guess the biggest challenge was finding the main actors, um, which I think that's a great behind the scenes story about Blue Gray, or the making of, is Flora actually wasn't supposed to be the main actor when I first wrote it. And she produced the film as well. Uh, and there, I think a month in, I'm actually not sure. Am I making that up, Flora?
I'm
Or
just
like,
making it up. It's fine.
like I just remember the biggest thing that we were struggling with the beginning of production or throughout it was like, how are we going to find this main actor who plays Chiho, who's the main girl character, the girl character. And I was just like, I need someone who can, who's like, I had a very specific thing I was looking for where she's like, I want her to have spent time in Korea, but have also like moved to the States and became like very Americanized. Like she's Korean American, but she is also from Korea. And I was like, which is what my mom was like, and which is um, what I'm like. Like I grew up in Korea, but I went to international school, and then I eventually came to America, and I was like, how am I going to find this like specific Korean American person? And I would be talking about this before. We'd be on the subway in Korea, be like, this person doesn't exist. Like, how do we find her? And then totally separately, after we were talking about production, Flora was like, I'm thinking about doing like being an extra in like Korean shows, variety show or dramas, because I like acting, and I feel like this summer I should go back into it, which was totally unrelated to what we were talking about. And then I think a few days later, I just like every night I was thinking about how do I find this, person? How do I find this actor? How do I find this character, or the perfect actor for this character? And actually, I want to give myself credit and think that like the thought occurred to me that Flora can be this character, but actually it was my mom, because that summer my mom had met Flora for the first time, and they really got along. And my mom was always like, Flora, Flora. And then suddenly I was having lunch with my mom and I was talking about the same issue. Like, I don't know if I can find this actor. And then my mom said, how about Flora? And I was like, oh. And then we tried it, and it was I want to say it was meant to be, but it was like even more than that. I feel like Flora was perfect. Yeah.
It was kind of just like all manifesting together, which is, I think, is awesome. And especially if you're filming a story about your mother, I feel like mothers have like good instincts, especially meeting Flora and stuff like that. Flora, you also were like acting and producing in the film. Did you have any challenges doing both roles, or like, are there any other challenges that you faced while doing this project?
There was like both challenges and like it was great because like as the lead, like I was able to really see the locations and like talk to Katie. Like it was pretty much rehearsal, and like while we were like location scouting and like meeting crew, it was like rehearsals all the time. So it just like helped with everything. But also at the same time, it was difficult and challenging because like I had to be a producer. Like it was like I would like do one scene and then suddenly like go to someone and be like, are you eating? Or like just checking on the crew and stuff. That was like the funniest part. And like the crew member would be like, why is the main actress like asking if I ate or something? Like, like the producer roles. So that was strange but interesting experience.
But I think that's like also awesome because, if you're producing it, you kind of know the role more than anybody who would just have been another actor, actress to film that or play that part. So it was great. I'm actually really curious how you guys casted the other the guy lead in this, Katie.
Oh, yes. After we decided it's Flora, she's Jiho. We're like, okay, now how do you find the guy? Also because we've never casted in Korea before and we don't know anything about casting. This is also a great story. I think it's a great story. I don't know if other people think that, but so Flora and I met while going to the same grad school. So we're at Columbia right now for film. And a friend of ours from the program connected us to a filmmaker named Bora Kim. And I think she actually played at CAFNY before. And she made a film called House of Hummingbird recently, which is incredible. So everyone should see it. I kind of reached out to her early into the production to ask her questions about shooting a movie in Korea, because I knew that she was from there, and I think our friend told us that she had shot a feature there and that she was working on finishing that. And so when I met up with her, one of the greatest help that she gave us, she gave us so much help, or she helped us so much. She introduced me to a casting director that she worked with for her feature. And in terms of the guy leads, we basically met up with all the actors that the casting director knew. And we had met I think maybe one or two actors before we casted our main lead. I just remember I told Flora that he just has to be kind. And it seems like it would be an easy thing, but but it's like, I know he has to be so nice that he, it just has to be like, or I was looking for something along those lines, and I, thankfully, because Flora was already cast, whenever we met up with these actors, we were able to read lines. I was able to have them read lines with Flora. And I was also looking for chemistry and, but mainly the kindness thing. I was like, I just need to look at him and look at his eyes and think, he's so kind, or like, he's a puppy or something like that. And when we met our Moonshake, like our main actor, yeah, he had that energy, that special energy. Yeah.
I think, that's really important, especially like when you're meeting all these people to cast. You want the audience to kind of relate to the character too, and make, to also see that he's super kind. And I think that's what made it so great. Like the casting and the dynamic between Flora and the guy lead was just great. So, Katie, what else do you want people to know when watching this film?
Know about Blue Gray?
Just in general, like when people, about Blue Gray, yes.
Right. Oh, that's a great question. um, I'm not sure if there's anything I want people to know. I guess that it was made with a lot of love. Flora and I, we have a thing where every single person we work with, or every single person who sees the film, we call it the 3H, which is hope, healing, and humor. And if we can do one of those three or all of those three, that's like what we want people to take away after having seen the movie. Either they feel hopeful, or they feel like they had a really good laugh, or that it was healing for them. So yeah.
I think that's a really special message. Do you have anything to add to that, Flora?
Sorry, there's like a construction thing going on, but no, that's perfect. Nothing to add on to.
And I think it's, like I said before, we were talking about, it's like such a difficult time right now. So I found that all three of those H's that you've mentioned are, that's kind of like what I got from it. Well, mostly like humor, but I think other people, the audience that will watch this film, I hope they feel the same way, and I'm sure they will. I mean, I can't speak for them, but that's the kind of message. If I had a friend like going through that needed healing or hope in like a relationship, I think, I'd be like, watch this film, because, it sends a great message. So you guys both have like backgrounds studying film in New York. And I feel like New York is like the best place to connect with people, even if it is arranged. I think it's like we were talking about societal norms. I feel like people just go on blind dates, whether it's for romance or just in general for networking. Do you guys like have any favorite spots you like to go to, like in New York or anything? I know we're talking about like cafes and stuff like that. So I kind of just like want to see,
Well, that's a great question. I feel like Flora and I think about this all the time. Favorite spot to meet up with a friend or meet up with a stranger?
Yeah, like anywhere. And like New York, I feel like that's what I love about New York, because you can never get bored in it.
Right.
And they have like such great like filming locations as well. And I've had fun, whether it was like networking business or, or like an intimate like romance kind of place. So
Right. Flora, you go first.
Wow.
You guys studied in like Columbia, right?
Yeah.
So my favorite spot in New York is, have you ever had gin ramen?
Yes.
It's so good there.
A lot. Yeah.
So yeah, like I think New York has like really great ramen, and especially like on a cold day.
Yeah.
I mean, we can all collectively like gin ramen if you want, or if you have if you have any other places you'd like to say.
This is so random, but recently I went to Staten Island and had my friend was like, this place has, or we have to go to Staten Island because he found like the best Sri Lankan spot restaurant. And I was like, it's just really worth, and I've never been on a ferry before. I've lived in New York 8 years, but never been on it. So I was like, okay, let's go. And it was I've never had Sri Lankan food, but it was one of the best meals I've ever had. And I don't remember the name, but the owner is named Viji. And we went to a park right next to the Sri Lankan restaurant. It's like a hole in the wall place. And the park was really nice too. And I was like, wow, Staten Island.
I feel like Staten Island has like those like kind of just like hidden gems or like hole in the wall places that,
Yes.
which is great. This isn't in Staten Island, but in Brooklyn, I went to my friend took me to this like Ethiopian place, and it was like so good. I've never had Ethiopian food, but it was just like, it's like so different and great. But what about you, Flora? Do you have anything to add?
I guess I really love like walking, so Prospect Park in Brooklyn.
Right.
I go there a lot. So.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of great places there too. So I just like wanted to wrap up a little bit. Are you guys working on any other projects, Flora or Katie?
Yes, we are. I'm currently doing post-production on another short film that Flora starred and produced with me. It's about a frat party at Columbia and about an NYU freshman girl who's like born and raised in Korea like me. And we got a grant from grad school and hoping to use the grant to shoot the first opening of a feature that we are hoping to make. That's set in Korea as well. Yeah.
That's fun. So are you guys planning to go back to Korea? Or you guys already went or?
To shoot the film or just?
Yeah, to shoot the film.
Oh, yeah. But we're planning like sometime next year.
Yeah, hopefully if everything just like dies down with this whole pandemic. But that sounds awesome. I'll definitely look forward to it. Do you guys want to add anything else about the film?
Thank you for watching. And
of course, yeah. Like I'm gonna tell everyone to watch it as well. But yeah, thank you so much. Congratulations on the film, and thank you for being part of CAFNI. I think your film was like one of the best. So thank you again for your time, and I'll look out for your other projects. So I'm really excited.
Thank you, Stephanie.
You guys have a good one.
See you.
Bye.